Greetings and salutations, everybody. Well, this is the weekend for the Walk for Freedom, and I'm joined on the telephone line as we travel down the highway about the human trafficking. This is a human trafficking survivor, and we want her to tell her name and where she's from. Hello there. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Tell everybody your name.
I'm Kalika from Columbus, Ohio.
And Kalika, we thank you for joining us from Columbus, Ohio. I understand that you have been a survivor of human trafficking. Can you share your story briefly with us?
Well, briefly, I was basically introduced in to addiction, a life of addiction, first of all, and that's kind of how I got caught up in trafficking. The guy introduced me to a drug. I became addicted, and to support the habit as well as maintain food and shelter, I was trafficked and prostituted for his benefit and gain, and that went on for 7 years. And finally, I was able to get away. Went into a hiding shelter. And was able to get away and restart my life.
Wonderful. Congratulations, and thank you for restarting your life to be refreshed and rejuvenated from this experience. And I'm sure that you have a great testimony to share to people all the time. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct, all the time.
Absolutely. Well, Heart to Heart is having their walk to raise funding for this particular prevention for transitional homes for survivors out there. Do you see that as being a need for survivors in this day and time from human trafficking?
Oh, definitely. That is the major need, because it's really hard to recover without safe housing. So you need the stability of transitional housing or housing period in order to start your life over. So that's very, very highly needed for survivors.
Absolutely. And that's why the fundraising is so important. Another question I want to ask you, Heart to Heart Services, helps with branding and tattoo cover up, because a lot of people wear tattoos, you know what I mean? And how important is that?
It's very important. Actually, I had a tattoo that was covered myself. So it was very wonderful experience when I was able to cover that up and put something beautiful there. I have a tiger lily on there, and it's really nice. And so it's just very important to put the past in the past, and it helps me move forward in the future and helps me beautify my body rather than tear it down with.
I know that's right. When you look at that new tattoo, you say, "Look from whence I've come," right?
Yes, yes, I love it.
That's good.
I love it. It makes me feel a lot better about myself.
That's right.
And I'm able to share my story when people ask me what it is or where it comes from. I can share my story of my testimony of how I was able to get away.
Good. I got a couple more questions I want to ask you, and we appreciate your time and you sharing this, because your testimony is helping somebody else out there survive better. What do parents and caregivers, I would say, need to know to help protect their children and others from this type of stuff?
Be aware of their surroundings and who they're hanging with. Know all of your children's friends, male and female, where they come from. Check their background, their parental status. Just really, and be careful with letting your children spend the night over other people's houses. That's usually how it happens. So just basically being aware and talking to your children about human trafficking and what it is, and making your children aware so they also know what to look for so they can prevent being a victim.
Sounds good. And how can people, my final question is, how can people help Heart to Heart Services that's making a difference?
Through donations. Basically, it's funding for the transitional housing, because once we get the women housed, it's a lot easier to talk to them and get them the treatment and counseling that they need to move forward with their lives. So basically, I would say just basically through donations. Just donate, be aware, get trained, learn as much as you can learn about human trafficking so you can prevent yourself and others around you from becoming victims.
Sounds wonderful. And final word today, what would you like to say to encourage and inspire people in this season that we're going into? We're just wrapping up summer and going into a cooler season. What words of encouragement could you share as a mother?
Just stay aware, keep an eye out, and that it change can happen. One person, any person can make the difference in a survivor's life. One person made a difference in my life. A hug, just somebody to talk to, a crier to show on. Just make sure that keep your number available for people to contact you if they're in trouble. Just make sure you know the number for human trafficking. If you see anything, please report it. Just basically staying aware of your surroundings and what's going on in your communities.
Wonderful. Give everybody once again your beautiful name and tell them where you're calling in from.
Kalika Sadika from Columbus, Ohio.
I love that name, and we thank you for being a wonderful survivor because you have snatched victory from your defeats. We thank you, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.